Hello, guys. Welcome to All for United. I know what you're thinking. What is Harry Maguire doing hosting the show? Well, tough. You've got me today. Bridging the gap is back, I should say. Fans were back at LSV. It was brilliant to see. Myself and Stu will be talking about our first experiences and how excited we are for the rest of the season. We've got a brilliant panel from the women's channel with Jonathan and Natalie. And yeah, we shall see you after the intro.
Click subscribe to get daily Manchester United content from passionate Reds, only on All for United.
And there we are. How good was that in the intro? First time. I'm buzzing with that.
Well done.
John, how are we?
Yeah, very well, thank you. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. We did it about a month ago, didn't we? And it was a great idea. Went down really well. I think it's gradually working. We keep on doing this. Let's see what happens down the line.
Stu, how are we?
Yeah, great. Had a pretty good day today. Been to the gym, so feeling quite refreshed. So, yeah, and looking forward to this one. Yeah, I enjoyed it last month, actually. So, yeah, got loads to talk about, I think. So, yeah.
Yeah, definitely going to get into a lot of topics today. Natalie, how are we?
I'm doing good. Obviously, I wasn't there when you guys were there, so obviously you guys are going to be a bit more buzzing, but I'm buzzing because Sunday at King Power and United Women, that's when I'm making my appearance again. But I'm doing good.
Glad to hear it. Right. Look, we may as well get straight into it. John, you were obviously waiting 18 months to get back at LSV to watch the women's team. I'm not going to bat around the question. How was it for you?
I was all right, you know. Yeah, it was brilliant. After everything was brilliant, apart from obviously not being there, it was pretty much a perfect day for me. You know, we got there okay. We had a bit of a laugh on the way there because it took you about an extra half an hour to make the journey. You were stuck in traffic the whole way. So we had a bit of a laugh actually getting to the stadium, getting to the hotel. We got there for about 2:00. Met Stu for the first time, had a drink, got to the men, had some more drink, had something to eat. Saw quite a few fans we haven't seen in 18 months. A few close mates now, I would call them as well, who was there. Great. We spoke to Emma, didn't we? Who kind of put a bit of an article out on the BBC Sport website. So we got a nice photo that she took of a group. And then obviously we all moved to the stadium where we all queued outside, and it was like the old days, and slightly different. We had to go in through a different entrance this time. No issues there. And then once you got inside and you saw the players come out, it was just like the old days, and really good. I could go through the whole day in detail. We'll do that throughout the whole show maybe, but yeah, it was absolutely brilliant, and yeah, just can't wait to go back now. Leicester tickets has been ordered, and yeah, let's go through the game quickly.
Yes, I'm sure I've got a lot to say on this, so I'm going to go to Stu and Natalie before I explain my bit. Stu, obviously for us it was our first time there. We'll talk about LSV as a stadium, and you know, the pitch and everything like that in more detail in a minute. But the day as a whole, you know, how did you find it?
Yeah, I mean, I was really excited. I don't know why, because I don't get excited going to football matches until I'm actually there and in the stadium and the game's kicked off. But I must admit, I was looking forward to it because it's something a bit new for me. And I had contemplated watching women's football before, but it was only really until I kind of got involved with All for United and listening to John and Nat and Benny and Matt and being invited on Benny and Matt's Saturday night special a few weeks ago. I kind of got a bit of a bug, really. And talking to yourself as well, you were saying that you bought a season ticket. You know, and I was thinking a couple of things, but I decided to bite the bullet and go. And I have to say, I mean, we got there mega early, which was great, really. So it kind of enabled us to kind of meet some of the Barmy Army, some of the fans, so to speak, and that kind of made it a bit more special. So all in all, yeah, I had an absolutely brilliant night.
And Natalie, obviously for yourself, unfortunate that you couldn't be there. But I'm sure it was good to see the girls back out there on the pitch in the WSL.
Yeah, it was good having fans and just what like Stu said, getting there early, meeting up. That was the plan. That was the plan that me and Jonathan had. Meet up early, go to the pub, go into town, have some bite to eat or something in town, go to the Wren, have drinks there. Everyone will start to meet us, Matt. And then when I saw that picture, it just brought it all back. Like, oh, I remember when I was there, like you say, 18 months. It's been a long time. I've got a bit of a longer wait. Obviously, you know, Sunday is away. I do love an away day. Away days are fantastic. Like in the men's side, we sort of say, oh, I prefer away days sometimes. And it is sort of like that in the women's game. You do prefer your away days. But when you haven't been at home for a while, you then start to miss your home. And that's how it feels. I miss my home. Obviously, Shivy gave me a little shout out. I wasn't expecting that on the Sky Sports main event. That was amazing. But, you know, it's just good hearing the songs again, watching it, hearing the roar. When Hansen scored, oh, my days.
Nat,
that was better. That was better.
Because let me ask you this, because I was thinking back to LJ's goal at Liverpool. We always go back to this goal because at the popular I don't know. I think it's very even. I think the Hansen goal lasted longer. I think the cheer lasted longer. But I don't know if the pop was there.
I don't know because I wasn't there. It's really strange. You can't explain if you're not there. It did sound. It was good. It was that feeling. And then when Honor scored, get better off. That was it. Boom. Well, the run was already out, but the run was properly out then. It was the game over then. Once Honor scored, it was game over. And I nearly missed my shout out because the run was out, mate. We weren't even watching the end. It's only because I got a little text through. Boom, you just got shouted. I'm like, what? Boom, someone played it back for me. Oh my God, you know. So I didn't even see the rest of it. Wasn't even interested. You know what I mean? 2-0, boom, finish. Thanks for coming. We're here. We're back. With Red Wave, as he says. Red Wave.
Oh, we'll talk about
we'll talk about that. But Red Wave Army, whatever. Red Wave Army now. That's it. You know. I love it. But that's what it is, and that's what I've always said. Football. Fans change football. Fans change games. You know. You shouldn't downplay yourself and the impact that you had. You know, Connor, sure you were singing, Stu, John. Yeah, I wasn't there, but you made a difference. You made them win. You made them drive. You made Honor shoot. You know, would Honor have taken that shot if there was no fans there? Probably not. You know what I mean? And you can tell. And I went to Scotland, luckily, so I had seen them. But Honor loves it. Loves it. And I love it. I love that. I love the faces. I love the excitement. Because it makes me excited. And that's why I love women's football, and that's why, you know, that's why Stu was buzzing to come.
Yes.
Stu's never buzzing, but he's seen the excitement in faces.
So much so, right? I've got a small announcement to make that I've managed to tag my mate, Kev, who's a big Chelsea fan, to come to the Chelsea match.
That's good.
Well done, success.
So I bought him. So we both got a ticket. We're in the West Stand North or something ridiculous. I don't know where that is, mind you.
It says West Stand. It's West Stand, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I'm planning on doing, and of course Manchester United, if you are listening to this, tough. We're going to go into our normal bit. Then we're going to go to the concession stand, and then we're going to get lost and happen to walk into your area. And that's what we're going to do. So, because I realised that I could have done that. Because, you know, when I met you guys right at the end of the game, I realised if I'd gone into concession stands, I could have just turned right and just gone into your block. And nobody would stop me.
That's what you're saying.
Nobody would stop me because I got a ticket, hadn't I?
Yeah.
And I was in.
I mean, that's what I did miss, I suppose, Connor. I know you want to talk about it, but I did miss seeing the stewards, fire safety stewards, seeing there's a lady, I don't know if she was about, but she used to give us, sounds really strange, her name's Sheila, she used to give us sweets. And she used to give me mints because she was like, I don't want you to ruin your voice. I mean, we pass them around and all that, but it's stuff like that. I miss faces. John saw probably faces that he probably didn't know, but I probably know them just through being there all the time and stuff. I mean, Alan Keegan wasn't there, but he usually does these shout-outs for the women. I miss him. he's someone that, like, it sounds really strange. How the hell do you know him? But I just know him through doing the women and, you know, stuff like that. It's the down to earth people, you know what I mean? And he's the Man United stadium announcer.
I found that, Nat. I've got to be honest. I found that everyone was down to earth. And I was joking with the lads actually on the Saturday night that the stewards would come over every 5 minutes just to make sure I was okay. You know, tap me on the shoulder. Would you want an ice cream? No, I'll be fine, thanks, and all that kind of stuff. I was only kidding. Actually, the stewards were really pleasant, and the whole experience of being in the ground and watching the game, it was really pleasant. And like I said to Connor and John, actually, I didn't quite know what to expect. I didn't know what I was going to watch. I didn't know the quality of the football I was going to see. And I know we'll talk about that later on in the show. But look, I would implore anybody who's watching this and who's never been, take a punt. Because you can moan and whinge about women's football or under 23s football or under 18s football. If you don't take a punt, actually go and see it for yourself live, you've really got no... You can't have an opinion, and I was in that bracket, and I didn't really have an opinion, as John will back me up on that because I didn't have an opinion on it, but now I do, and I've been raving about it to my mate Kev, who's, as I say, he's a Chelsea fan, so and he said to me a couple of weeks ago, he's not interested in it, but I managed to twist his arm, and I think he'll get a real shock. I really do.
It's only been recently, where I've been into women's football, and that's because I'm learning more about it and some of the struggles that potentially they have behind the scenes. But for me, and I know Conor will talk about this in more detail probably throughout the show, but it's just Man United versus someone. I don't actually like to look at the gender as such. It's not that. But obviously, as you get more loyal to the players, obviously, you know, and you learn more about the game, then obviously you start to open it up to women's football. That's why on our channel on All for United WFC, we do more than just Man United now. But go on, Nat.
And you know, what Stu said, it just really got me. And I was someone as well who was supposed in that bracket, didn't know a lot, didn't really say much, but didn't know a lot, so I wasn't going to sit there and say. Even still, I'd probably class myself as someone who is a bit not ignorant, but you know, a bit ignorant maybe to other teams' plights. Maybe I am. I mean, I'm starting to educate myself a bit more. But I am solely focused on Man United, and you know, and no one should ever see anything wrong with it. I know there's a bit of a push in women's what they should open out, and like you said, we have opened it out, but you don't have to do that. You can just be Man United, and like I said, for me, I've travelled the world, and I know I'm not bringing myself up, not saying anything, but I've travelled the world watching Man United, America, Sweden, Italy, France, Spain, you know, and I love it. But I love LSV too, you know, and in my life, I never thought, I mean, I'm going to probably get a few haters now, but I had a ticket to remember when we played Barcelona in 2019 and Messi scored that goal and Scotty should have scored before and all that kind of stuff. I had a ticket to that. But the night after, the girls were going to win the league and I gave up a ticket. I know that sounds stupid and probably I shouldn't have done it, but I don't regret it because I saw Man United women win their first ever league title and they did it in front of my face and I told them, listen, I gave up a ticket for that to watch it, and it is great. They are top. They seeing them happy, I'm happy, you know. And like Mark said, Mark Skinner now, the Red Wave, we're all in it together. We're one team. You know, you're the 12th player. You matter as well, and you can feel that more in the women's football. Like you do make a difference. I'm not saying that 75,000 screaming at Old Trafford they make a difference, obviously, but you know, it's a different. It's just I never thought I would be like this for women's football, but I am.
I can jump on the back of that now because, and I'm going to say this to everyone who's watching as well. If you're watching this thinking, I don't know anything about women's football, I don't know anything about Man United women, that was me and Stu 3-4 weeks ago. I couldn't tell you a single player that played for United Women's apart from maybe like Lauren James and obviously the two Americans that were there. But other than that, I couldn't tell you anything about it. Now, I just like Stu, I think we've all kind of said this. I just implore anyone just to try it. You might not like it. You know, not everyone is going to be into it. But I voice noted John on Sunday night saying, like, I cannot believe how hooked I am after one game. Like, that's all it took. one match. And it's like I would say to everybody, as soon as that game kicked off, it was Man United versus Reading. I didn't see female players. You know, when I go to Old Trafford, it's male players. It's Manchester United. That's why I keep saying to people, if you love the club, you should be going to watch it. You know, and it's like I say to everybody now. I think once people go, they'll realise what we're talking about. Like I said, until I think you've experienced it and watched it live or on TV. You know, obviously, if you can't get to the games, I think then you'll realise what we're talking about. Obviously, we're going to talk about Mark Skinner in a minute because obviously I know John will have a lot to say on him. And to be fair, I
think we all will. But yeah, go on.
But I just have to say, and this proof in the pudding, right? I've got tickets to United Newcastle on Sunday. Now, obviously, that's bigged up. You know, people are paying stupid money for that. Ronaldo's return, whatever. I'm actually, if not more excited to go to Leicester away to watch the women's than I am for this United Newcastle game at the weekend. That's how kind of hooked it's got me already. And that's just after one game. So I'm going to be a nervous wreck by the end of the season.
I was you, mate. Trust me. I was you.
Unfortunately, I can't make Sunday. I mean, I'll be there Saturday. And look, I'm looking forward to Saturday's game. Don't get me wrong. I don't think Ronaldo will make his return. I think they'll probably leave it till Europe on Tuesday. Is that? I think we're away, aren't we, in Europe on Tuesday?
That's what I'm hearing.
But do you know something? I'd love to go to Leicester because I'll go up there, and I know quite a few people anyway, and we're all going to get together, some of the All for United guys. But then we'll go our separate ways into our own seats. You know, I'll go to our season ticket. Connor will go to his place. Benny will go to the East Stand, etc., etc., etc. But with LSV, now I know what I'm doing. I'll be a lot more comfortable going. But it's just I struggle a bit with going to 2 games over a weekend with family. I mean, fair play to the missus. She's pretty good, but I can't push me luck.
Just on that, Stu, obviously it was your first time at LSV. What did you think of, like, say, the facilities, the quality of the pitch and everything like that?
The pitch absolutely really surprised me. I couldn't believe how good that pitch was, especially because I believe they play rugby league on there rather than union. And I was absolutely astonished at the state of the pitch. I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was a bit long at first, because I wasn't quite sure if the ball was going to flow and roll properly. But it actually, as the game grew, it kind of flattened out a little bit. But I thought the facilities were great. It's a modern stadium, or modernish kind of stadium. I think it's situated in an okay place. I know people will moan about access and getting cars out, etc. But that's the same for any stadium, really. You know, wherever you go, if it's a popular stadium. My thoughts, and I don't need to go into my thoughts on a couple of things about the stadium, but like I say, I was treated, really well. I thought the stewards they weren't serious. They were kind of friendly. They were helpful. So all in all, the experience of the stadium, the pub next door to it, the fans, and everything about leading up to it was great. And then the icing on the cake was the game.
Can I just jump in? I just want to hear Connor's opinion on this, because obviously you was surrounded by us, and just like, what were your thoughts like when we was actually inside and we started to sing a few songs? Because part of me would have liked to have seen you go to another women's game first to see what the other women's stadiums are like, which is practically silent. Because obviously you're comparing it to Old Trafford, where you got 70,000 fans. All of a sudden you come to 2,000 fans, so it's a massive difference that way. But if you got to another women's football game, you wouldn't have heard anything. You might have heard a cheer with a goal, and that's about it. A bit of clapping, that's it. But the atmosphere that we brought and the passion that we brought, do you just want to kind of give your comments on that?
Yeah, no, I think if people go there expecting Old Trafford, then of course you're going to be disappointed. The crowd size is completely different. Like, so if you're going to go, you don't go in with that mindset, because why would you? It's 70,000 to, LSV holds 12,000 at full capacity. So it's not going to be the same. However, because like me and Stu have said repeatedly, I didn't know what to expect. Obviously, I was at United Leeds a few weeks ago, where you could argue that was one of the best atmospheres at Old Trafford we've had for a long, long time. And then go into obviously this game. I went in with an open mind, because I thought, I don't really know what to expect. There's only going to be a few thousand people. There's only, from what I've heard, a few hundred that chant at most. But I mean, it would, on top of the atmosphere, that whole togetherness, I don't think you get at Old Trafford either. You get it, here and there, but that whole, all of us kind of stood up along the back row all together, all chanting. It was made easy for me, having the songbook, because Anthony did butcher some of the songs, just making them up as he went along, and things like that. And there was a proper togetherness about it. And it's like we've said before, I didn't know Natalie, Jonathan, Stu, any of these guys before I came on here, all for United, but felt comfortable traveling 120 miles to go up, stand with you lot, people that I'd never met before, and enjoy the game. So that's the thing. Atmosphere, I think me and Nat have said this a lot over the last kind of week or so. Atmosphere makes games. And from what I've seen, especially over just watching it on TV, the WSL on Sky over the weekend, atmosphere is almost non-existent at the other games. So when you look at United and what we're trying to do, it's brilliant. It's like I said, people need to go and try it for themselves. Don't compare it to Old Trafford, because it's not that. And just enjoy the game. I said I was pleasantly surprised at the whole thing, the quality of the game, the quality of the pitch, the atmosphere in the ground, like post-match and pre-match as well, like in the pub beforehand. It was just a thoroughly enjoyable experience. I cannot speak highly enough of it.
Yeah, I think everyone would agree with that one. I think it's time to talk about the Red Waves then, and let some of these men's team fans know what the Red Waves is. Come on, Nat.
Well, I know I'll let you go, but I just want to touch on what Connor said about the whole, it's not going to be Old Trafford, and what you said, John, about the whole, the difference. And I think you'll see the difference, Connor, on Sunday. And I'm not saying Leicester are bad fans or anything like that, but I just think you'll see the difference between the fact that we have songs for players, we have songs for teams. I'm not saying, I don't know, maybe they've got a few, but like you said, I've travelled around and no one's got songs for, Leah Galton, that's a song, I'm sure you could probably whack it out now. I think the whole WSL could probably whack it out. Hanson's song, whack it out. Different songs that are basically ingrained now in my head, and it's all through the women's team and adapting songs and different things and stuff like that. And, some of them are probably, you can sing a lot of songs that we sing at Old Trafford, but it's just not Old Trafford. But I'll let you talk about Red Wave.
Sorry, can I just jump on the back of what Nat was saying as well? Because obviously where I was stood, the Man United subs were literally 2 or 3 rows to my left. I can tell you now, they bloody love it when the songs are, and you could see it after the game when they're coming over. Mark Skinner turned around. I could count it about 6 or 7 times how many times he turned around to acknowledge, us lot chanting behind the dugout. Like I said, the players were constantly looking over and kind of smiling and things like that. And obviously after the game, so I said, I've said this obviously on the women's channel as well. It needs a few more people, obviously, to get the atmosphere really going. Maybe get some people in the south stand as well. To have 2 singing sections. But I can tell you now, I just wanted to jump in on what Nat was saying. The manager and the players, I can tell you now, hear it and love it from what I've seen.
And just on that as well, regarding Leicester, quite a few Leicester fans turned up at the Villa game, didn't they, Nat, that we went to? But they weren't really singing songs. They were just, it was great. They showed the support. 2 or 3 different fan groups there, but they weren't noisy as such throughout the game. They were just, cheering. Obviously celebrated the goal, but there was no songs there. There was no atmosphere in that way. Villa kind of gave it a bit of a go. There was maybe a dozen, if that were singing up in the far corner, so they gave it a go. But you'll see if you go to, if you do go to a away game yourself, Stu, as well. What we do is, second to none, really is. Another clubs are trying to follow suit, but obviously after we've done it.
Yeah, I mean the way they do the ticketing, if it carries on throughout the season at LSV the way they've done it, you won't get that much of an atmosphere in the South Stand because it's more of a family type thing. But it was great to see, and I mentioned it on Benny and Matt's Saturday show. It was great to see a lot of shirts with the girls' names on the back, rather than your Ronaldos or your Bruno Fernandes, etc. I didn't see Phil Jones in the 6, Karthik. I was looking, but I couldn't see that. And that was really, I was really surprised actually. They got somebody like Galton on the back or Hanson, and there was a couple of John's famous bucket hats on show as well.
Oh, he's got it. Hang on, Stu, he's got it. There it is.
There we go. There we go. I'll keep it on.
That's brilliant. So there's a couple of those on show and stuff like that. So they are supporting them the individuals as much as they can. And I was quite shocked to see that, because in the men's game, I mean, it's not for me, but in the men's game, you've got grown men with, players' names on the back and all their kind of badges on the side. So to see the kids, and it was mainly kids, to be honest, all with their shirts, all with the names of the players. It was great to see from that point of view. But with the atmosphere, the only way they're going to be able to do it is, I think, is if they mix the atmosphere and they allow people to have a free reign in the stand, because I think more and more would join in and the Barmy Army would grow if there was a little bit of latitude, so to speak, and that people could mingle.
So obviously, I just briefly mentioned in there about how, kind of the players love it and Mark Skinner was loving it. John, I'm going to come to you first and obviously Natalie afterwards about this. I know, John, you're one of Mark Skinner's biggest fans. And to be fair, after the last few days from what I've seen in interviews and things like that, I bloody love the guy. And comparing it to the men's game, I tweeted it the other day, how good is it we've got two likeable managers in Skinner and Ollie that have just ooze passion and class towards the fans. You can tell they know what it means. And it seems like, I don't know who Mark Skinner supports, but it seems like a fan. You see it with the reactions to the goals and things like that. But John, I know you claimed kind of number one fan status the other day on the women's channel. Go on, I'll just let you have the floor. Express your love for Mark Skinner.
What it is I just love his energy. I love his honesty, how open he is. I love how he emphasizes words. I love his mannerisms. I love the way he used his hand gestures, and all these things make me think that everything that he says he actually means, and he's not just saying it for the sake of it. And I know at the start, I'm sure Natalie felt the same, and anyone who watches him who didn't know him before, I can understand why people think, oh, he's too good to be true. He's saying this for a reason. He's saying this because he thinks it's good to say, but it's not. You can tell by everything about him. I'm not an expert in reading body language, but I know when something's genuine and when it's not, especially when it's so impulsive after a game. Your emotions are running wild. You won't have time to think about, oh, I should say this, I should say that. Everything's so instinctive during the game, after the game. If it's a sit down, if it's like a press conference and you're sitting down, or not even a press conference, in a women's game, it's one-on-one, and you have like a 5-minute clip on Twitter, something like that could be recorded over the whole day. So that could be a bit more staged. But the impulsive ones on like press conferences where the questions are being asked and on post-game interviews, that's not staged. That is genuinely him. So when you see him talking and the excitement in his voice, and some of the quotes that he comes up with, the red wave being one of them, I think it's brilliant. And obviously he's thought about this red wave one because you kind of suddenly come out with that, how he starts talking about wave of attack and crashing up against the opponents and add the fans on top of that. It's great to know he started this red wave, and we'll obviously
I'm just going to come in on this, John. Sitting down in his press conference, and he started saying, oh, it's going to be like the Beauty and the Beast. And I thought, who is this guy? Really? Who is he? He went to Scotland, and it was really good, the way that he came over, the way he was clapping, the way he took off his mask. This is what we need, guys. And I was really behind that, John. I don't know if you remember, but I like him. He's in it. He's a bit of me. The way he celebrates and stuff. Yeah, he's a bit of me. But then all this Beauty and the Beast, red wave, I thought, you're trying too hard. No, but then, like you say, John, it is. He thought about it, and he thought about the attack and the build up and it's the red wave is the passion inside you. When it's going, when Tooney plays that ball, and then when Hansen kicks it with the outside of foot, and then the roar, bang, that's the wave. Yeah, can't stop it. And I love that kind of thing, that energy of, it's us against the world. And that's what it does feel like when he said that red wave. It's all of us. It's all, that passion, that energy of all the fans around you. And like you said, Connor and Stu, we're all one. And we're all going to go and beat this team. We're all, smashing, attacking, all that kind of thing. That's the kind of stuff I love about football. And, that one I did like. But I'm going to give it John as the number one fan because, he was backing it from the start. When he started coming out with all this Beauty and the Beast, I was like, oi, not for me. But John was like, I love it. And I think John has got the similar accent, so he understands him more. I'm sort of like, come on, son. Whereas Casey, I love Casey, but she the way she spoke, it was like it wasn't like it was like neutral and so you could hear like not a mank twang, but you're like, all right, yeah. Whereas this guy's got his Brummie accent, he's talking about red waves. John took him from day one.
I just want to say, I think he's having fun. I think he's enjoying the experience. And I know you need to be more than just having fun to be a good manager. And I did say on yesterday's show, look, I'm not going to say that he's going to take us to the top of the league. We don't know that yet. He's played one competitive game and he's won it. Brilliant. Well done. But what I am saying is I like him. I like having him as our manager. I think he represents the club. And I just, I'm buzzing off him. Is it because he's a local lad? Possibly. Maybe I warmed to him a little bit because he's from, Birmingham as well. But, there's plenty of other Birmingham people that I know that I wouldn't want as Man United manager. So it's not just that. I just like the fact that he just comes across as a nice guy. Also, is this the kind of manager that we need? It's like 3 or 4 months ago. It looks like it possibly is because our players went through a hell of a lot. Imagine bringing in someone who kind of ruled like with an iron fist. Is that kind of what our players wanted? Possibly not. Maybe they needed someone who was approachable, welcoming. You guys touched on it. You mentioned it about Ollie and Mark, 2 likeable managers. And maybe that's what the club wanted. They wanted someone who would reach out to the fans, who the fans would like, who the players would respond to, because they're definitely responding. But kind of I'll back to yourself.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I implore anyone to go and watch Skinner's interview after the game. I just thought it was brilliant. And even before the match, do you remember when we all entered the stadium and he was doing his pre-match interview for Sky? You can hear us actually on the Sky interview. And it's almost like, obviously, Nat, I know you had the thing with Carla, is it Carla Ward, the Villa manager as well, where she kind of...
He's learning. He knows all his days already.
Kind of lost train of thought. That was Mark afterwards, wasn't it? He kind of answered the question and kept looking over to us because we kept chanting his name and things like that. So I just thought it was brilliant. And so I implore anyone to go and watch that kind of pre and post match the interview that he did for the Reading game. But Stu, I'll come to you because obviously I've said this a lot that with the men's team, it's the first team we've had in a long time where it's a likable side. And I keep repeating it. Likable team doesn't win you trophy. That's not a doesn't win you trophies just for being a likable team, but it bloody helps. And I feel like that's what we've now got with the men's and the women's team. We've got a likable team and a likable manager in both camps. Do you see any comparisons with Skinner and Ollie?
Well, it's early days, isn't it, with Mark? I always feel that when you're appointed to Old Trafford, whatever capacity, it's always a big thing. It's a big appointment. The world is looking at you, and the world would have been looking at the women's appointment, who it was going to be, and what type of character that the board felt would be able to move forward from Casey. And they seem to have got a likable, as you quite rightly say, bubbly character. And I think he's one of those that can certainly rise a crowd, which is great. And time will tell as to whether his attitude and his experience will carry us forward to the promised land of Champions League football. And I think it will. But when you look at Ollie and you look at Mark and you compare them, if you look at the picture that's gone around the social media today of Ronaldo and Solskjaer, everybody's going on about, what's Ronaldo saying, blah, 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 blah. But actually what people should have taken from the picture was the respect that Ronaldo is showing Solskjaer, and I think Mark Skinner will have that kind of respect. He'll have that from the players, from his peers, and from the media. And I think it will be a relatively easy transition for him for the first quarter of the season until the results really start to take shape and the league starts to take shape. And I think then we'll know what he's like. I can see why the club took so long to make the appointment, because I think if you've got a Casey Stoney who was probably in the mould of Sir Alex Ferguson in some of her approach, And as John quite rightly pointed out, do you want another taskmaster, and how are players going to react to that? But what he can't do is mix the two. He can't be jovial all the time, because he's going to have to make some tough, hard decisions throughout the season. And so he's got to find that balance of being happy-go-lucky, but kind of strict at the same time. So I can see why John is his number one fan, because people can come across as infectious, and he's probably got that type of personality that will give you that infectious side of it. But when you look at Ollie, and this is a big problem, because Ollie's very, very similar, very calm and cool, collected, half of our fan base think he's weak. But you don't know what goes in on a day-to-day basis. And so from that point of view, I think it's great for the club. I think he'll do good things for the club. He needs time, obviously. But yeah, he's a big tick in my book.
Can I just jump on this a second, Connor? There's Josh's comment on screen. Josh came over to us at the Banksy Stadium in Walsall on Saturday. And Josh, if you've got any socials that you want to put in the comments, if you want to, just so we can follow you, because we really appreciate you coming over. And you don't follow us on Twitter or anything. I know that you haven't got Twitter, but you might have Instagram. If you want to put it on there, mate, we'll follow you. So thank you very much for coming over. And yeah, I am a massive fan of Skinner. Josh will know Skinner from the past, from his Birmingham days. So, Josh, if you want to put a comment in about what you think of Skinner and what you think he's going to bring to United, that'll be great. Just finishing up on Skinner, just my other thoughts. I've spoken a lot about him as a person, and we've kind of mentioned that, which is all positive stuff. He has got a massive job to do as well, because there's been a heavy turnover of players as well. So he has 7 players leave, 5 players brought in. He's changed his coaching staff setup as well slightly. Obviously, he's brand new to the role, and he's also changing the way that we play. So the players who have been there for a long time, for like 3 years, not just the playing style on the pitch, but also things that's gone on behind the scenes. All this has changed, and he's got to suddenly come in now with all this and change it overnight. And you know what United fans' expectations are like? They expect him to come straight in, win the first 5 games. If you don't win the first 5 games, then he's not good enough. And then you see that, and then you look at Everton on the weekend losing 4-0, who's got a stable manager, and obviously all these brilliant players who've come in. It's not that easy. And what Mark's done at the moment, on pre-season, on interviews with the fans, first game of the season, he's taken in his stride. And we've got Leicester next week. It's not going to be an easy game, but it could have been worse. It could have been a top 3. It could have been a top 3 side. If we can win that against Leicester, put some more points on the board, then if we do come unstuck against Chelsea, one of the WSL title holders, then it's not the end of the world. At least we've got some points on the board. But what I'm trying to say is he's got a massive job on his hands, and I don't think people actually realise how big a job he's got and how quickly he needs to do it as well. Not quickly on my behalf and probably our behalf on screen, but social media and Man United fans out there, they want instant results, aren't they? And it's not going to be that easy.
Yeah, I agree with what everyone said about him. Obviously, I've only got limited from what we've seen. Obviously, we all have. He's not been in the job that long, but I do see some comparisons with Ollie. It's like I said, likeable teams doesn't win you trophies, but it gets people to the ground. It's easier to get behind the team and the manager when it's a likeable person, and that's exactly what I feel like we've got in the men's and the women's side now. So just moving on. Ugly Bear has actually stolen my Ugly Bear. If you want a job hosting, you've asked my next question for me. So obviously this is obviously on the men's channel. People might not know, and it's like I said, me and Stu didn't know a few weeks ago. I couldn't name you a single player. Now I could tell you who my favourite players are already from who stood out against Reading. I think Nat agrees with me on one of them. So just for me, then we'll go around the board in this. From John, I'll come to you, and Stu, and Natalie on this one. So, who are your kind of, if you've never watched Man United Women before, who would you say is the standout player, and what kind of expectations should we be having for the season? Me personally, it's Honor and Hannah, the 2 fullbacks, and expectations, judging off Friday night, we're winning everything. But obviously for you guys, who's your standout player, and what are realistic expectations for the season? John, I'll go to you first.
I think we've got the best left-hand side in the league. I think we've got Honor, who's one of the best but she could play left back and right back. She's very often played left back, and then you got Leah Galton ahead of her as the left side attacker, whatever you want to call her. So for me, those are the two standouts. But we have also got a European Cup winner in Jackie Gronin, who's now worldwide. So I could go through the whole team and praise them all up. But if I could just keep it short, I'd probably be very honest in what I'm saying there. You got a very, very strong fullback and attacking left-hand player, and then you've got probably the experienced and the skillfulness of Jackie Gronin.
Yeah, I think we're all kind of in the same thing. Obviously for me and Stu just going off Friday, I could name the whole team. I could have gone for the whole back four, and I'm pretty sure, Stu, that is one of the people you're going to mention as your kind of standout player. You're on mute as well, by the way, mate.
Sorry. Yeah, look, Maria, for me, I thought she was absolutely top draw. And she didn't put her wrong all night. Very, very impressed with her. Which is, Ben was saying that's one of her best games. She's last season cost us a couple of points, cost us a couple of games, but she was my standout alongside Katie Zellum. I thought she looked really good. I thought she was very calm. I thought she was very collected. And I think as the season progresses, I think you'll see those two come to the fore. There was obviously other players I could wax lyrical about, but if I'm really going to pick two, those are my two standout players. I thought both of them were excellent over the night. But yeah, I agree with the fullbacks. I agree with Kirsty Hansen as well. I think she's an excellent player. Jackie Gronin, if I pronounced that correct, I did mention her when she came on. I think she's got a bit of growing up to do yet, which probably sounds strange for a Dutch international, but I think she just needs to think a little bit more when she's on the ball and perhaps not panic so much. Or maybe there are some times and occasions in football where a player's brain is a lot quicker than their feet. And I'm wondering if Jackie's one of those, her brain moves at lightning pace and she's just thinks a bit too quickly. But other than that, I could go through the whole starting 11 or squad really, because I was mightily impressed with everybody.
Yeah, I think everyone you've mentioned really. I think Jackie Gronin, like you say, there was times when she first joined and it was a bit of I wouldn't say struggle, but like you said, there was that period of, does she know, or is the team moving fast enough for her, or is she moving too fast for the team? We had these chats at the start during last year. It was Jackie's year. Jackie, people will say Jackie was unlucky, but obviously Honor is my favourite player, my number one player. But I do think you need to watch out for Mannion. I think she's going to have a really good season as well. I think Leah didn't even start that well. I think Leah is our standout player, really, when you look at it honestly and truthfully over the season. So if anyone's ever seen or not seen, definitely look out for Leah Galton. But I think Hansen's going to come into her own as well. That finish, the outside of the foot. I'm sorry. Yeah. And Tooney's assists. Yeah. Tooney is now as well one of our standout. Today, Mary Earps, which is the goalkeeper, very good goalkeeper, assured, one of her best performances as well. Mary Earps, Katie Zellum, Tooney, Lucy Staniforth, who I think is going to come into her own as well, have all been called up for England. So, Mark showing he cares, he's bringing up. But I think we're going to see, I think Borarisa will do really well. And then one who you sort of saw towards the end, boys, but who I think last season was absolutely world class. Unfortunately, she got injured. But if we get the best out of her, she's going to be one, because she's going to bang in goals. Alessia Russo. That is the one that I'm telling you. It's going to be, if she stays fit, we keep her wrapped in cotton wool, she doesn't get injured, she comes back to her form of last year, you'll be sitting there, Stu,
so picture this.
Waxing lyrical, different class.
Hansen, Russo.
Yeah, and then just someone in the middle who runs, who can get a ball, who can hold it up, who can header, who can, do it all that. Just say all of more. Yeah, it is a really good. It looks stronger. It looks more depth that we've got. It looks like we've strengthened with the men's team. The men's team needed a right winger, and we needed centre backs. We needed an attacking full back. We brought Hannah in. You know, yes, we've lost players, but we brought in where we needed, and that's most important for me.
My other thoughts was that we weren't tall enough. We weren't big enough. We weren't. Not that it mattered, because it didn't, as it happens, because we were the better side anyway, woman for woman. But I think he's going to have to work on our strength and our conditioning. When we are up against bigger, more powerful teams, he's going to have to look at it and work on that side of the game. So, but that's just nitpicking. I mean, that's just what football's all about. I say it in the men's team, don't I, Connor? About strength.
So just quickly then, I'll come to, unless John, did you want to add something on the back of that?
On that, so we've got 6 midfielders in our squad who could all quite easily play, but there's only room for 3. And I think what Mark has already mentioned, and I mentioned it a few times on the WFC channel, he'll look at the opponent, and if we need physicality, then he'll play a certain player. If we need flair, then he'll play a different type of player. So you are right, Stu. I think we are lacking a little bit, but we have got someone like Hayley Ladd, who we haven't really seen yet, who's completely the opposite. She does get a foot in. So, you know,
she's the 6.
Yeah.
The Laddinator is Vicky Bullard.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, well, sorry, Connor, you carry on, mate.
What, could she play 6 for the men's team? Because that would stop Carthic's obsession with Phil Jones in the 6.
We've got Phil Jones in the 6, haven't we?
We've all seen today. I mean, that's going global. That is. God help us if that ever happens. Carthic's going to be all over that. But I'll just come to each of you quickly then. Realistic expectations for the season. I think we're all going to say the same. In fact, we'll do this because this is obviously on the men's channel. Really, we've obviously seen a couple more games in the men's than we have in the women's. For both teams, then, for the men's and the women's, realistic expectations. I'm pretty sure, I think we're all going to say the same. Because for me, women's top 3, obviously Champions League, I think could be or should be potentially obtainable. And for the men's, definitely top 2 and taking the title challenge to the wire. So, John, for you, what's realistic?
It might have to be a bit boring, but I'll agree with you because I think the same. But just to elaborate, women's team, look, it's not going to be easy because Arsenal have strengthened massively now with the signing of Toby and Heath. I thought if we was going to catch any of the top 3, it would have been Arsenal. They've strengthened there, but just because they've strengthened, it doesn't mean that they're going to end up winning every game. But you have to think that there is going to be someone, City, Chelsea or Arsenal, one of those has a bad run of form. We just need to be in a position where we can get in there. And I think we can. You know, we saw last season that we can put a run together. Let's see what we can do this season. So, yeah, definitely fight for 3rd, but also a cup final. We keep saying, don't we, Nat, we want to win the cup final. So we want a cup final. Men's team, yeah, absolutely. It's not going to be easy. Chelsea have got a fantastic squad. Liverpool can't do any worse than they did last season. And obviously Man City are looking strong as well. But we're strong now as well. We've got a stable manager that's been there for a long time now. We've signed a new contract. Got fantastic players already. New players brought in, as Natalie says, to fill the gaps that we had. So we should be there or thereabouts. So I'm probably going to say second on the men's team as well.
Yeah, for me, I think definitely 1st and 3rd. That's what you want. But obviously, for Man United, what you need is trophies. Trophies are needed. Cup final, like you said. I mean, if we do finish 4th in the women's team, but say get a cup final, win a cup, league or FA Cup, I don't mind. I think the women's team now need it. I think we've won our first trophy in 2018-19 season. So I think, it's a couple of years. We don't, the men need it as well. The men need a cup, any cup, no one cares. But I think definitely the men will be challenging for the league title, and I think the women will be challenging for Champions League places.
Yeah, I think with the women's side, we've got to be looking to match last year. So no lower than 4th, with an aim of getting into Champions League. But I would say a cup for the women. I think if I was Skinner this year, because it's almost a free hit for him, I would be concentrating on a cup and trying to win a trophy in my first year. A bit controversial, I know, but that's what I would be looking to do. With the men's, Ollie's got to be going for the Premier League this year. He's got to set his sights. Ronaldo won't be coming in to finish 2nd. No chance. that's not on his radar. He'd rather retire than finish second. He didn't win the Serie A last year, so he's going to want the Premier League this year, guaranteed. And he's going to want a cup as well. I think Ronaldo will be looking for some kind of double. I think Ollie's going to look for some kind of double. I think the players are going to knuckle down this year, and they've got to want some kind of double themselves. So that's what I think on both.
Nice one. Yeah, I think we're all kind of in a similar thing. I think obviously it's different with the women's new manager. You've got to give it time. And obviously with the men's team, I think we all agree this is a critical season for Ollie with the kind of transfer window that we've had. And I agree with you, Stu. I think Ronaldo's not going to be coming in to just play, let's play for top four and, semi-finals and things like that. He's coming here to win the big prizes. So the last topic we'll kind of move on to then, obviously, rightly or wrongly, a shock for me on Friday was the lack of, I guess you could call it, VAR/goal line technology, whichever one you want to focus on first. Obviously, we saw in the Man United Reading game, I called it at the time that goal looked over the line just from where I was stood. I think when you just can see it, it looked over the line. So I was waiting for the watch to beep. Obviously, I've never been to a live game before, so didn't know whether that was something that was in the game. I don't know who wants to jump on this first, so just feel free for anyone to jump. Natalie, I'll go to you first then. Is it something that, obviously in the men's game, VAR gets criticised all the time? Obviously, it's a little better this season that refs are letting things go and things like that. Is it something that, obviously Emma Hayes has been very vocal about it over the weekend? Yeah. Is it something that we're going to see in the women's game in the next kind of year, 2 years? It's something I think Sky would be looking at.
Yeah, listen, I think if you look at the Emma Hayes chance, what the Bear said about Chelsea and Arsenal, and they were Beth Mead, she scored a goal. She was about 2 yards offside, but the referee was looking right at it. And these lines women, lines men, referee, whatever, they're part-time. These girls are all full-time. That's where we need to get it going to. And I know you saying you thought it was in, but I was watching on telly and I didn't think it was in. And they slowed it down. And I still don't think it's in. And maybe that's me. People say you're biased. Okay, but I'm looking at it and it's not like 100%. So, yeah, you do need the watch, the beat. But then Emma Hayes said something about, second-class citizens. And I thought, that's not the one. It's not about that. Emma Hayes, they play at Kings Meadow. That's a 4,000-seater stadium. That's like a League Two ground. And they say League Two grounds can't accommodate it because they can't get enough cameras on the roof. They can't, they're too small, this and that. You have to pull out seats to put cameras in. So Emma Hayes is sitting there saying, I want this, I want that. But you wouldn't, LSV can accommodate it. I think the Euros, women's Euros are coming to LSV and they're going to have technology there. But then I think they're going to have a lot better referees. You see, there's a woman ref, and I think she did a German game, And these are the standard of referees that are going to come over. They're doing men's Champions League games, And I think this is where we need to get with the FA and the levels on the women's. You can't just sort of give a semi-professional some person VAR who probably hasn't got enough time to learn probably what they're doing now. You know what I'm saying? You can see the poor quality. And I think just if you had full-time referees, you let them just do that as their job, you would see an increase already. Eventually, I do think we will get goal line. I think you'll get goal line first, then you'll get the VAR. But the first and foremost is professional referees, and then look at all the kind of technology you add in.
Yeah, I agree with Nat on that. But the problem is there's no money in the game. And because there's no money in the game, then VAR and goal line technology will just have to take a back seat to the back of beyond. That's the problem. We've just started to see money dripping in with the likes of Sky, with the likes of Barclays and other sponsors. But it's chicken feed to what the Premier League is getting in. Now, with the referees coming in the PDMOL, then they're going to have to go professional. They've got to go professional. You can't have semi-professional linesmen, persons, because I don't know if you have men lines people in the game or not. And you definitely can't have a part-time referee at that standard. It's just not right. You can't have it. And so I know Mike Riley was there, wasn't he, supposedly, on Friday. And they've got a big decision to make. And the referee needs to put money aside to pay professional referees. Now, there is one way you could do that immediately overnight, and that is by getting League Two and League One referees to go and referee the women's game when possible. And the PGMOL can do that like that. They're professionals. It's just an extra game onto the week. And I think that would be better. And it might enable the referees and the officials that are currently in the women's game to then go away on a 6 to 8 week training course, get trained properly through the PGMOL, and then come back, better referees for it. But having said that, we've seen even in the Premier League with professional referees, they get it so wrong all the time because of the speed of the game, speed of the players. And that's one of the things that Mike Riley's got to look at is the women's game now. They're all athletes. They're professional athletes. They're eating properly. They're training every day. They're getting bigger physically. They're getting bigger, stronger. So that means they're going to be quicker across the ground than a standard part-time referee, and definitely a part-time lineswoman. Now, in all fairness to the poor girl against Reading, she was doing her job in as much as she was covering the back line, which was probably on the 18-yard box because the strike was about 25 yards out. So she would have had no chance, not a chance in hell, of being able to make an educated guess. And so instead of making a guess, you choose the path of least resistance, and that is, sorry, I couldn't see. And so it doesn't get given. It looked over to me from the pictures I've seen, but I tend to agree with that as well. There's not a camera that's really conclusive either. So it's one of those. So in terms of, I don't think, and I know Matt was a little bit critical of the refs, and I know Connor had some kind of thing to talk about the refs. I think that's a bit difficult to criticise part-time referees in a Premier League or whatever, and the highest level of women's football. And so Mike Riley, he's got a decision to make, and he needs to act on that immediately, because there is money growing in the game now, and it's going to cost teams eventually. But I just can't see, unless Hawkeye, give it as a trial to every ground in the WSL, but then you're not going to have it in the Championship, and then you won't have it in other areas. So I think it needs a huge investment in money. So I think this, however long the Sky deal is, it's quite critical that Sky get the viewing figures and everything grows from that basis.
Yeah. I agree with everything what's been said, and I said obviously on the women's channel the other day, it needs to grow at its own pace. I think there's this kind of expectation now. Oh, it's on Sky. Everything's got to be professional. There's got to be VAR. There's got to be goal line technology. When like you said, Stu, the money is not there yet. It will be after kind of over time, but it's not there yet, and it's got to grow at its own pace. Like I saw a tweet the other day, the men's game have had 100 years head start on this. The women's game has got to allow its time and grow organically, not just here's £5 billion, deal with that. So we're coming to the end of the show now, but John, I believe you've got an important announcement to make.
It's not so much an announcement, but a few weeks ago we got shortlisted as one of the finalists. So our YouTube channel, All for United, still under the same brand. Me and Natalie, we've got a separate channel, All for United WFC, Women's Football Chat. And we've been going for nearly 12 months now. Me and Natalie did our first show back in September last year. And I think we're about a week or two away from our 1 year anniversary. And we're one of the finalists at the FCA's, the Football Content Awards. And it's a great honour to be nominated. But we had so many nominations that which was great all over Twitter, that we've actually been shortlisted as one of the finalists. Now we're in a category with accounts and podcasters that have got thousands and thousands of followers, people who are very knowledgeable in the game, who've been going a lot longer than me and Natalie. But I think one thing's for sure, me and Natalie's passion and enthusiasm over last year deserves us to at least be thought of for an award. So if you do want to vote for us, or if you want to check out how to vote for us, go to the All for United WFC Twitter page, and it's on our pinned tweet. Nat, I think you've probably got a bit more detail, a bit more knowledge on me on how exactly to vote.
Yeah, it's on Insta as well. So if you're on Insta, go on the FCA's website, go on our Twitter page. We our Insta page as well, All for United WFC. It's online. There's a link there online. I'm sure, like the All for United, this channel will retweet it as well. It's coming into the last few weeks, so we need as many votes as possible. We're up against a Leicester channel, City channel. So I think there's a Villa channel in there. I don't know, but obviously we want the Man United. We're all one club. We want Man United fans up there and being celebrated. So, any support, we keep trying to grow it for the whole women's game, but obviously All for United as well.
Yeah, definitely go and check that out. It literally takes a couple of minutes. Trust me, we've all done it. It takes a couple of minutes. And also, if you need any more incentive, like Nat said there, we're up against City and Chelsea channels. Come on. I mean, what bigger incentive? Let's go and beat City at something else as well. So I'm going to come to each of you then. 90 seconds, 2 minutes, however long you want it to be. Obviously, the title of the show is Fans Are Back. Obviously, Natalie, you're going to be back for your first time against Leicester on Sunday. If you were to, I think I asked this question on the last Bridging the Gap. If you were to sell, we've got a lot of people that just follow the men's team on, maybe watching tonight, that maybe want to know more. What would you say to those people to encourage them to, not to get to every game, but say the next home game is against Chelsea or City or anything like that? What would you say to those people? John, I'll come to you first on it.
For myself, first of all, just join the Twitter page, learn a few names, see what goes on. Then start watching a couple of games, watch the highlights, whether before 20 minutes or the full 90 minutes on MUTV, Sky, BBC, FA Player. Start watching it. Just learn a little bit about it. Just get that little bit of intrigue there. If you're not interested in women's football, if you're not interested in, if you're dead against it, then no problem. It's not for you. But if you have just got that little bit of, if you're just a little bit intrigued, or if you're just a little bit enthusiastic about learning about, what me and Natalie are so passionate about, and now yourself, Connor and Stuart, start watching a little bit on TV, doing your research, get to know the players, get to know the positions, get to learn their history, how long have they been with the club, what do other fans think of these players, follow them on Twitter, interact a little bit, and then get yourself to the ground. Because I guarantee you, if you've just got that little bit of excitement there, you won't be disappointed at the ground at all. And I know I'm speaking to people watching this now who was in the same boat as Connor and Stuart just a month or two ago. And Connor, especially because I've been chatting to you a bit more, I know that you it's really absorbed you. And if you have a look on my Twitter page, when I first started Twitter, say 2.5 years ago, the majority of it was men's with a little bit of the women's team. And then it kind of got a bit balanced. And now it was like 50% men's, 50% women's. Now it's like 90% women's, and it's really engulfed me. And I've not come away from the men's team whatsoever. I've just added to it. So all the excitement that everyone gets with the men's team, when the men's team win, I get double that excitement because I get the men's team winning and I get the women's team winning. So for me, just get into that stadium and just start supporting. Simple as that.
Yeah, brilliant. Stu, before I come to you, Stu, obviously Mark's put there, learn the songs. Can someone pass that to Anthony or give him the song sheet after?
It's on the website as well. It's on the website. So, yeah, the song sheet, and it's on the website. So definitely go and check it out.
Stu, for yourself, what would you say? Because obviously, I'll come to myself in a moment, but obviously we're new to the game. We've come from the men's side, obviously very recently. What would you say?
I would say don't be bigoted. Really, because that is a common problem with football fans in general. And as a father who took my lad when he was 10 to his first game, my uncle took me to my first game when I was 7. There are parents taking their young daughters to football now, and these young daughters probably would like to play football. So I would say contact your local clubs, get your daughter involved, and then also go to your local women's team, follow your local women's team, whoever that may be, and give it a chance, because the bottom line is, guys, football is football. You know, you have 2 goals, you have a pitch, and you have 22 players. Football is football. And it's an irrelevance, the gender of that particular teams, because football is football. And you get the same jeopardy that in the women's team that you do by watching the men's team. And as John says, I get, 2 bites of a very big cherry now, because I'm a season ticket holder at Old Trafford. I've been for 27 years, but now I'm going to watch the women as well. And I was saying to the guys just before we came on air, I've convinced my friend, who's a lifelong Chelsea fan, who's got no interest in women's football, and he was quite clear with me. I've got him a ticket, and he's going to come to LSV the 28th or 29th or whenever it is of this month. Back end of the month, isn't it? And he's going to watch
26th, isn't it?
Something like that. He's going to watch Chelsea play Manchester United women. So you can't have a go at women's football if you don't give it a chance. And if you do have a go at women's football and you don't give it a chance, you're kind of an irrelevance, mate. Everybody out there, you are irrelevant, because it's easy to mock and it's easy to have a go at something you don't understand, or you won't give yourself a chance to understand. So if you're watching this, talk to your friends. Just talk and just go. The ticket cost me £6. £6. That's all it costs. The season ticket is £39. That's it. There are people watching this, and there are fans of our great club who have paid way more than that to go and watch a Champions League match, or they've gone to do a bit of hospitality. It's not too far down the road from Old Trafford. You can go do the stadium tour, before you go across to LSV. You can, but bearing in mind, you're supporting Manchester United, not Manchester United women. You're supporting Manchester United. So just think about it. Give it a go. Take a punt. What's £6? What is £6? Come on.
You spent more than that, Stuart, in the pub just on one round.
I did. Yes, I did. And that's the thing, and all for that was soft drinks as well.
Yeah, disgusting. If I was there, Stu, you would have been on the doubles, mate.
Well, I will say one thing, Nat, and I'm gonna pay a couple of people out here. Only John bought me a pint. I'm gonna get that out there right now. Okay. I put my hand in my pocket, didn't I, Johnny?
Just to back myself up here, I went to pay for yours at the bar, because obviously we were all on a tab, and they said, "Oh no, that nice man in front of you has already paid for yours." So I didn't get the chance.
That's all right, old friend. I'm only kidding.
Yeah.
Next time.
Round's on you, Connor, right now. Chelsea, it's all on you. No, but I just want to pull up that comment from Vicky, the one above. I think about how everyone hates us. And that's what it is. Man United, everyone hates us. I love it. That's what I love. I love the siege mentality. And like you said, with the red wave, I feel like that's coming back. The singing, the chanting, like you said earlier, like we're clear in a way of other teams, and it makes it so sweet, so good, so sweet when you win, and you can see the opposition probably being like, oh, sulking, not liking it, influencing the refs and all that kind of goodness. Yeah, that's why I love football, because it is that banner, it is that rivalry, tribalism between two sets of fans. And I think with everything that's gone on with us in the winter, a lot of people know about that, know about how the women were treated. But now it's time for us to sort of get the siege mentality back, get that fire back. And I think a lot of people are saying United aren't going to do this, Leicester are going to do this, Everton are going to do this. They both lost. So we won. And I know it's people say, oh, it's just Reading, all this, all that. It's always with Man United, it's just about proving a few people wrong, and being part of that with, I suppose, proving them wrong about Ronaldo. If you love Ronaldo, he's going to prove everyone wrong. And it's about our women's team now as well, proving everyone wrong. Shameless. We love it. I love that little click between the rival fans. And, a lot of people get wound up. Don't think we're that great. We're just coming in from the men's game. You know, this isn't how women's football. No, this is, you know, it's one. Football's one.
Oh, Stu, you look like you were going to say something there.
Sorry, I was just in the group chat. John had said about the guy that we met, and I've just remembered. So I was just replying back to that.
How can you not remember, Stu? Come on. No wonder why I didn't buy you a pint. You don't remember who he is.
Well, I remember that. Of course, I remember that part. I would just like to say it was really nice that when I did come over to your section, that people kind of knew me already, and I thought that was really nice. And I'd never experienced that, even at Old Trafford, because you know our seats. There's always different people around us all the time because of how it is at Old Trafford. But it was great. It was just that was really quite nice actually that people kind of knew me and recognised me and said hi.
Just before we go, Connor, can I just kind of touch on that as well? Because I feel the same, and anyone who's new to women's football, who might be watching this either now or a week down the line or whenever you watch this show, that is what you get with women's football. Me and Natalie have been going to other teams as well, and it's nice that people recognise us, whether it just be through YouTube, Twitter, replying on comments. It's a very, very friendly atmosphere. You know, it really is. 99% of the people are very friendly and they've got nothing negative to say at all, and it's great. So for you to pick that up, Stu, it is true. Yeah, and so absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, and I think from my kind of closing statement side, I think I've said most of this obviously at the start of the show, and I'm going to say it again just to end off on. There'll be a lot of people watching this, obviously from the men's account, that were like me and Stu about a month ago. Couldn't name you a single player, you know, just watched maybe the handful of games last season if it was advertised loads or the season before and things like that. That's not a problem. Me and Stu are now heavily invested. You know, we'll be at kind of away games. We'll be at every home game we can possibly get to. And it's like I said earlier, you know, I should be and I am excited to be back at Old Trafford on Saturday against Newcastle. But I can tell you now, I'm as excited, if not more, to go and watch the women's team away at Leicester. That's the kind of buzz that you get, and we've said this throughout the show. Meeting everyone that was kind of there, you know, people that I've never met before, and obviously Natalie and Jonathan, Stu, and people that are involved in All for United. That kind of community that you don't necessarily get at Old Trafford, meeting all these people for the first time, being comfortable to stand with them, chant with them. Because at the end of the day, it's like I said earlier, it was still Manchester United versus Reading, regardless of gender. So my kind of closing thing will be just give it a try. It's not for everybody. You know, the men's football's not for everybody. But just give it a try. Like Stu said earlier, it's £6. Season tickets, I think, are £39 or £37. Just give it a try. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But I tell you now, most people will, obviously, John, you said that I'm you kind of a few years ago, and obviously Natalie as well. People might think I'm kind of acting this up. I've literally called John on Sunday night and just said, is this normal? Should I feel so hooked after one game? Because that's what it is. So just give it a try. That's all I will say. But that just about brings us to the end of the show. I have to plug a few shows, obviously, on this channel. Before that, though, make sure you're following all these people, John, Stu, Natalie. Make sure you go and follow the women's account as well, All for United WFC, on Twitter and Instagram, and obviously subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We'll have the Newcastle preview.
Sorry, Colin. I was going to say, all you fans of the women's side, come over to the men's side as well, because we'd love to hear your thoughts on the men's side and see how you see it differently to us. And it'd be great to have you, have you follow us and answer your questions. Sorry, Connor, I apologise.
No, 100%. And this show will be back. We're going to try and make this a monthly show as well, with these three as regular faces. But the Newcastle preview, Thursday at 9 o'clock, Carthet will be back, should his internet holds up. And be warned, Phil Jones in the 6, he will be plugging that all show. So if you're interested in that, be sure to check in for that. And obviously Timeline Talk will be back with James on Friday. So, thank you to my wonderful panel here. I've made it to the end. First hosting, if anyone can guess. I'm sure you all can. And we shall see you very soon.